Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we turn a stack of sources into a shortcut to being well informed.
Today, our mission is to tackle something that seems simple, but causes a lot of frustration.
It really does. We're talking about time and dates in English. You've sent us so much material on this, from common classroom mistakes to the maddening differences between British and American English. And we get it. Saying something like it's 7:05 should be easy, but in the moment, your brain just freezes.
It absolutely does. And it's because the language around time and dates is, full of these little traditions and regional habits that often defy simple logic.
Right.
We've got cardinal numbers, ordinal numbers, halves, quarters, and then the whole system for writing the date flips depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on.
So our goal today isn't just to list rules.
No, not at all. It's to give you the context, those essential aha moments, especially with the British versus American English styles, so you can feel totally confident.
I love that. Okay, let's start at the very beginning, the simplest thing. How do we ask for the time? What's the phrase everyone defaults to?
99% of the time, it's just, what time is it? It's natural, it's efficient, it's direct.
I noticed in our sources that learners trying to be, extra polite sometimes get this wrong. They'll say something like, "Do you know the time now?"
That's a perfect example. And while it's grammatically fine, it just sounds a bit stiff. A little too formal for a casual chat.
So it's not actually wrong, it just sounds unnatural.
Exactly. If a native speaker asks, "Do you know the time?" it's often a lead-in to something else, like an excuse. It's not usually just a simple question. So yeah, the shortcut, just stick to what time is it.
Okay, great. Now let's get into answering, because this is where the rules really start to pile up. We have to talk about o'clock right away. I hear this one misused all the time.
Yes.
When is the one and only time it's correct to use a clock?
The rule for o'clock is absolute. It is only for exact times. The minute hand is on the 12. That's it. It's 7 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock.
So just to be super clear, I would never, ever say something like, the movie starts at 7:15 o'clock.
Never. That is the exact mistake we need to flag for you. The second you add even 1 minute, the clock is gone.
Yeah.
It loses its whole purpose, which is to mark that precise hour.
So at 7:01, it's just
7:01. Simple as that.
perfect. So, okay, we've left the safety of the exact hour. We're in the world of minutes now, and this is where it gets a little more expressive. Let's take 3.15. What are my options?
You've got two main ways. The easy sort of digital route is always correct. 3:15.
And the other way, the more traditional one.
That would be 3:15, and that sounds very fluent.
Okay, let's break that down because it's a nice concept. A quarter, obviously, 15 minutes. And past means it's after the hour.
Precisely. And we still use it because it's efficient, it's rhythmic. It quickly tells the listener where you are in the cycle of the hour. We're in that first chunk.
I like that. That rhythm takes us right to the middle of the hour. What's the standard, traditional way to say 3.30?
That would be 3:30, so half an hour past the 3.
And you mentioned a common error here to avoid.
Yes, it's crucial. Some learners might try to say 2:30, which is just, well, it's incorrect. It's always past the hour for the first 30 minutes.
This is where we hit one of those key distinctions, isn't it? The one that can really trip people up internationally. We saw that example in the source material, a text message saying, "I'll be there at 3:30.
Yes, this is so important. 3:30 is incredibly common, totally correct, and very efficient in British English.
So in the UK, 3:30 means 3.30. No question about it.
None at all. You'll hear it constantly.
But if I'm from, say, New York, and I hear 3:30, what am I thinking?
You're probably just confused. You might get a blank stare. In American English, people almost always stick to the digital format. 3:30. Saying 3:30 in a meeting in Dallas would probably stop the conversation for a second.
And this is exactly why we do these deep dives. Because if you're scheduling a transatlantic call, knowing that distinction, BRE's 3:30 versus ME's 3:30, that can save you from a huge mix-up.
It's a perfect example from the source material. Both are correct in their own contexts, but they are not interchangeable if you don't know the rule.
Okay, let's finish the hour. We've gone past the half, so now we're counting down to the next hour. Let's say the clock shows 9:45. What's the phrase?
Here we switch to 9:45. We're no longer saying how much time has passed. We're saying how much time is left until the next hour.
So 9:45 is 9.45. It's 15 minutes before 10 o'clock. It almost gives it a sense of urgency, doesn't it? It feels more natural for an appointment than just 9:45.
Exactly. Using past for the first half and to for the second half gives the hour a kind of narrative structure. You know right away if you're at the beginning of the hour or near the end.
All right, the clock is locked down. Let's pivot to dates. This is a whole other can of worms, and again, the British and American styles just flip everything. Let's use March 10th as our example.
Okay, so the first thing to grasp is that the whole structure is reversed. In British English, which uses the day, month, year format, you'd say the 10th of March.
Right, day first, 103.
Exactly. The day is the priority.
And then the American system, which most of the world finds a little confusing.
It does. It puts the month first.
Yeah.
So you'd say March 10th, and this is where the ambiguity comes in. If you
Yeah.
see the date 7/12, is that July 12th, the American way, or the 7th of December, the British way?
It's a massive pain point.
It really is.
But, okay, regardless of which order you use, there's one unbreakable rule about the type of number you have to use when you're speaking.
Yes, and this is critical for sounding fluent. You must always use ordinal numbers for dates, never cardinal numbers.
Give us a clear example. What's the mistake a learner might make? They might say, the party is on March 10.
Right, and a native speaker will understand you, but it will sound really jarring, like a word is missing. 10 is a cardinal number. You need the ordinal, 10th. You need the sound.
So it has to be the 10th of March or March 10th.
Always. You'd never say March 12 or July 4. It's March 12th, July 4th.
Those ordinals, first, second, third, fourth, they're just essential for dates.
They are. They establish the date's position within a month, not just its quantity.
Okay, so that leads us to the smallest words that cause the biggest problems. Prepositions. I'm thinking of a sentence like, I was born on March 12th. We often see errors like, I was born in 12 March.
That's a super common mistake, and you can see why. Learners think in, because they see the month, and we say in March. But the moment you add that specific date, you have to change the preposition.
So lay out the rule for us. What's the mental model we should be using?
Think of it like a target, getting more and more specific. The biggest outermost ring is in. You use in for large containers of time, months, years, seasons. In March, in 2024, in the summer.
Okay, big containers. Got it.
Then the next ring in is on. On is for more specific, smaller units like days and dates. You stand on a day, so on Tuesday or on the 12th of March.
And the bullseye.
That's at. At is for the point of precision, the exact moment you arrive at a specific time. So it's 7 p.m. at midnight.
That distinction between on for the day and in for the month seems to be the key friction point. Let's hit another common error. If I say, I will meet you in 7 p.m., why is that wrong?
Because 7 p.m. is a precise point in time. It's an at time. It has to be, I will meet you at 7 p.m. You can't be in a single moment.
And what if I said the meeting is at Monday?
Wrong again, for the opposite reason. Monday is a whole day, a container you stand on, so the meeting is on Monday. Honestly, mastering those three little words, on, at, in, is maybe the single most powerful shortcut to sounding fluent with schedules.
They really are the unsung heroes of clarity.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's just confirm a couple of high-utility time markers. If someone says, let's meet at noon.
That means 12 p.m., the middle of the day. Simple, efficient.
And it's opposite.
Midnight.
Yeah.
12 a.m. The moment the day officially changes. Using terms like noon and midnight is just another one of those native speaker efficiencies.
There was one other detail on efficiency in the source material, and it's about pronunciation. The month, February. Learners often try so hard to pronounce every single letter. February away.
And that's technically correct, but it's not how most people actually say it. The goal is clear, efficient communication, right?
Right.
Most native speakers use a shortcut. They drop that first R sound and say February. It's just faster. It's smoother. So don't worry about sounding like the dictionary. Focus on the natural flow. That's a great point. The shortcuts we take are often what define fluency.
That's spot on.
So after all that, what does this all mean? We've covered a lot of ground, but there are some really practical tools here for you.
I think if you only remember three things, it should be this toolkit. First, for time, remember the split.
Yeah.
Past for the first half of the hour, to for the second, and a clock is for the exact hour only.
Okay. Tool number one, what's to?
Be very aware of that British versus American English split, especially 3:30 versus 3:30. Knowing that difference is huge.
And the third thing.
It has to be that preposition rule.
Hmm.
On for dates and days, at for specific times, and in for the big containers like months and years.
Nailing those things really does move you from sounding like a textbook to just sounding like someone who can confidently handle a schedule.
Absolutely. The ability to switch between these conventions is so valuable.
So we've seen that British and American English have these different but equally correct traditions for something as basic as saying the date. And these traditions can cause real conflict, like trying to figure out if 7/12 is July or December.
All based on historical habit.
But today, we have technology that standardizes everything. So if tradition is what drives all this complexity in our language, think about your own digital life, your calendar app. Do you set it to the American month day style or the British day month style? And has that simple choice ever, inadvertently caused you confusion when setting up a meeting with someone from another country? Something for you to mull over.
That is a great question to end on.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the clock and the calendar. We'll catch you next time.